Hey guys, for those asking, I wanted to do a paired video with the recent one that I just released for GameStop to just really have a general TA of what I think can happen or will happen, maybe possibly this week. Like I said in my previous video, I think that for the most part, GameStop has already peaked last week as far as price goes, but historically, um, GameStop's actual peak hits roughly 2 days or a day after earnings, which is today. So there's still a small chance that GameStop rallies hard today, either on earnings or tomorrow. So right now, I sold all of my shares. I don't have any shares of GameStop right now, but I do have three YOLO calls. One for I think like 250, 260, and like 300, just in case, to see what can happen this week. But as of right now, all I'm really waiting for is just for that 4 hour trigger to get created, and I want to see how strong that pushes. Or my original thesis was basically back in late August was, it's either going to jump and go fill that gap at 290, or it's going to come back and retest 188 or so, and then run to fill that gap. And I think that might happen sometime today or tomorrow. Again, all I'm really waiting for is for another for another bullish trigger to actually hit us towards the upside, to push us towards the upside, right? So last time we actually did this, we hit trend and we rallied for, let me see, what is this? We rallied for $68 in a matter of 4 days and 20 hours, right? So we do the same thing today, or at least somewhat similar. Let's use actual. You know what? Let's use support instead of the actual running price right now. So we'll do 23. I don't think time matters right now, but we'll do $68, $68.74, something similar to before. So this is the kind of move that I can sort of maybe expect from GameStop sometime this week. Again, after that, bullish trigger happens on the reverse MACD. Keep in mind, we are already oversold on the Stoke. So if we do actually push to the upside, this would technically be considered a perfect buy-in, which is exactly what happened back on August 20th, which is exactly what happened back on roughly August 3rd and August 5th, and then you push from like 145 to highs of like 165, so like a $20 move. But again, every single instance of the 4 hour actually running or giving us that same exact trigger of a bull trigger on the reverse MACD, and then us being oversold and then kind of correcting back to the upside, GME has seen some sort of a push or a small rally to the upside, right? So last time it was from 145 to 195, so like a $50 move. Last time we had a perfect actual move to the upside was, prior to that was, right here, where we moved from, 142 all the way up to 188. So roughly, it's always been anywhere between a 40 to 50-ish dollar move. So $68 might be kind of high. I might actually put it a little bit less than that. So I might think that we actually push closer to 250 or so for GameStop, if we actually do see some sort of rally to the upside. But again, if we do actually break to 250, I think the chances of us actually like pushing up harder are actually going to be pretty good. So if GameStop actually ends up running to somewhere like 250, because we broke that 227 resistance, I think that there's a very high possibility that we actually go to 250, maybe retest these highs of like 227, and then push again to the upside, or we just moon and go close that gap. I still think that GameStop has to close that gap eventually. It's a pretty decent gap, right? The gap is from 287 to 291. So what is that, like a $4 gap, which ends up being on a $300 price point, like a percent, like a 1% gap that it has to fill. But again, this is all just kind of speculation. I'm not expecting GameStop to actually push up this hard. That's why I bought the YOLO calls, because if it does, fantastic. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. And I do think that this week is going to be, or this week is going to be, this is going to be the top, or last week was the top. I think this week there's going to be if nothing happens this week, then I think we're just going to keep going down from here, because, the weekly is showing a lot of weakness in bull momentum. we're actually on the last week. Historically, GameStop only rallies for 2 weeks, has one week, bullish week, and then closes, and then we have another massive drop to the downside. So, if we do close or we do end up closing, um, a bearish week sometime this week or next week, I fully expect us to actually go all the way back down, possibly to maybe 188, if not a lot lower than that, to 148, which is actually bad because then in a case like that, that's where you actually break trend that we've actually had ever since that was created back in January. So I don't want it to go back to 150 because that would break trend, right? As of right now, we have been pretty consistent on sticking to trend, and I would definitely not want GameStop to break that uptrend that it's had since January, which would be not exactly a good thing. But again, the 4 hour looks promising. The daily hasn't sold off as much as I thought it would. So it actually started from 227 and it's currently down at like $200 or so in the last, since August 1st, September 1st. Since September 1st, it's had a daily, it's been in a daily bear cycle, right? And the good thing is it hasn't actually sold off as much as previous times, right? So previous times when it creates a perfect sell-off, it actually goes down from a previous range all the way down. Right now, it's actually at a previous range, and it's kind of trading half on that price action, right? So before, on an actual drop off, you see huge candle sell offs from, like, last time we had a perfect sell off was from 377, and we went all the way down to like $200. So we dropped like $100 and something, right? The last time we had a daily sell off, and right now it's really only been about $20. So it's been 227 down to 200, so about $27, which is not as big of a sell off, which is pretty good in the fact that usually GameStop has a bigger sell off. When you have a perfect indication or of the Stoke creating tops and the reverse MACD giving you a bear cycle, right? So that's why I'm being a little bit hopeful for a last hoo-ha effort of GameStop to actually push all the way up to 250 sometime today or tomorrow, or maybe possibly even close the gap at 290. But again, it really just depends on how big the push can be for the 4 hour. Generally, like I said, it's between 40 and $50. So we really have to see what happens either today or tomorrow to see if GameStop can actually rally to like the 250 area or so. But we know you need that 4 hour close to be bullish on the candle. That way we can actually see a push to the upside. So it could possibly happen today, maybe tomorrow. I'm just waiting for that to happen. I want to see how strong that push is, and then we can figure out what direction GameStop is actually going to move to. So I'll see you guys later. Bye.